Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you guys some options for texture because sometimes you just don't want your projects super shiny and smooth. You want to add a little element of texture to it to make them more interesting, or you want to add texture as an accent. So maybe if you're soldering multiple pieces on top of something, you might texture some of them and put them on top just to kind of give it another dimension to your project. So I chose 2 pieces of scrap metal because I didn't want to. They're already wasted. I didn't want to waste any more metal that you guys could potentially be using. So that's why I have these 2 pieces right here. That's why there's a sword cut out of this one. All I did was sand them up and then I polished them because you want to polish them first. You can always polish them again later, but sometimes when you polish them, the polish will take away some of that texture. So you polish first and then add your texture to it. Now, the one thing with texture is once you put it on there, you can't take it off. So make sure that you are very much aware of what you're doing and what you want to do, and you take your time and you put it exactly where you want it to be because there is no going back once you put texture on there. So we have a couple different options here. The first is I have what's called a texture hammer. And what it is this hammer right here, and it has 2 different ends. And each one of these ends screws off so that you can take off the texture and you can put another texture on there. Now, each one in this bag, I have the texture examples. So they're kind of hard to see, and this is also kind of tarnished, but you can see each number has a corresponding texture that goes along with it. So all you do is look at the texture samples, find one that you like, and then that's the one that you decide that you want to use. These are numbered. The backs of these texture blanks is what they're called, are also numbered. So you find the texture with the corresponding number to the texture on the example. You just screw it on really tight. And then safety-wise, the only thing you really need to pay attention to is not hitting your hand or your fingers with the hammer. So make sure you're watching what you're doing and you're keeping away from your fingers. So as I get close to my finger, I might turn it and hold it somewhere else. Now, I'm not going to sit here and texture this whole entire thing because it'll take a while. But when you're texturing, you want to try and just hit it pretty strongly, and you want to overlap. So it can be kind of random. But you want to keep on texturing it. Until you're happy with the outcome. And again, I would keep going because, I have that texture that's on here. I would keep going because I want to texture the whole thing. Like I said, watch out for your fingers. Also, you'll notice that the texture is going to make your piece not flat anymore. All we have to do is take the rawhide mallet and hit it from the front and the back and forth until it's totally flat again. So you're going to put all of your texture on there. This is why you can see when I say, you can't get rid of it. There's no grinding it out of there. But you can see how it adds just something better to your metals. It's not just one simple piece. And you don't have to polish it to put texture on it. You can put texture on it and then not polish it at all if you want it to have a matte finish. So I have 2 different texture hammers. There are 2 different textures for each texture hammer and bag. So you just want to make sure that you are using the proper texture with the proper hammer. The other thing that I have is that I have letters and I have numbers and I have these stamps right here. And these stamps are, you can see it's got a texture on the bottom. And you can see it'll show you what that texture is on the side. And that's what it will look like when it's stamped in there. So really what this is a punch almost. So all you want to do is line it up exactly where you want it to go. You want to make sure that the letter or the number or the symbol is facing you, especially if you're using letters or numbers, because you want them to be to show up the right way. You don't want them to be upside down. You don't want them to be off. And if you are doing letters or numbers, you want to take a pencil and make a line so that you can follow the line so that your letters aren't all over the place. But with a random texture, if it doesn't matter to you where it lines up, you can kind of just put it in your metal. And the big thing you want to remember is you want to hit this once. You don't want to hit it more than once, because if you do, when you hit it, it's going to jump. And then when it lands again, there's no guarantee it's going to be in the right spot. So it'll be like a skidded letter, or a skidded number, or a skidded sample. So what you want to do is line it up, and you want to hit it hard once, and you'll see that you have a little texture there. Hit it hard once. Hit it hard once. And I prefer to do this on the floor because the linoleum underneath is a little more flexible and a little more giving, so it'll accept that stamp a little bit more. I know these are hard to see. You can at least see the outline of the shadows in the background when I move this around. So with textures, you want to make sure you take your time. You want to make sure that you line them up because whatever you put on there is not going to come off. So if you've worked on your project for a week or two and you put your texture in the wrong spot, there's no coming back from that unless you start all over again. So you want to make sure that you take your time and that you line it up, and then you want to make sure that you hit it once and you hit it hard. If you're doing a random texture with the texture hammer, like this, like the ball peen or the texture hammer that I have, you just want to do overlapping tapping.